Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, the show where we talk about new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons from both Dungeon Masters Guild and DriveThruRPG. We cover 20 new titles from each of those sites. This is not a review show, as we have not looked at any of these products in full, so please venture into them at your own discretion. We do include alphabetical links to all of the titles shown in this video in the video description. So if you want to help the channel, please use those links to purchase these titles. You can also support by purchasing one of our books, two of which are shown on screen right now, and those are also linked in our video description. Please subscribe and share the video as well. It helps the channel and all of the creators in today's episode. This week's episode focuses on titles released between August 20th and the 26th of 2021. Please stay tuned all the way to the end because we've got all kinds of content for 5th edition, OSR, and Pathfinder this week, including modules, classes, subclasses, items, you name it, it's in here, so don't miss it. First up, we've got Archmage Reedy's magic items with this cool little cover here with this nice watercolor art. It's from the KSM team with the pay what you want price of $1.95 at 10 pages. It introduces 16 unique magic items to your campaigns. It says Reedy was a powerful wizard and the first Archmage of the College of Wizards of the County of Mariletz on the island of Frolir, north of the famous Sword Coast. For his life, the wizard collected a whole treasure of a variety of magic items. So let's take a look at some of those. And it's got the little intro, and then you've got starting right out with the items, and each one looks like has the little watercolor art, which is nice. So let's look through here and we'll see a few of these, and then we'll pick one to read for you. I like the crystals here. Let's see, that says there are 4 mana crystals created by Archmage Reedy. Mana crystals can contain up to 2 charges. The mana crystal acts as a magic slot of a level that corresponds to its color. So red is a level 3, green is a level 4, etc. In order to charge the crystal, it is necessary to direct the corresponding amount of magical energy into it. Magical slot corresponding to the color of the crystal. So you spell slot, I'm assuming there. Each crystal has 15 health points. If you destroy a charged crystal, an explosion of wizard flame will occur. If a crystal with 1 charge explodes, an explosion occurs, corresponding to a fireball spell of the same level as the crystal cell. If a crystal with 2 charges explodes, an explosion occurs, corresponding to a fireball spell of a level equal to the crystal cell plus 3. So, kind of a cool thing, little crystal that stores spells of a given spell slot, and it's got colors. I always like crystals and colors and things like that. I've got some in a campaign setting I'm working on to eventually reveal to you guys one of these days. It's a massive project, but yeah, that's cool. I like crystal stuff. Like the little watercolor art. They've got this little egg-looking thing in here. So yeah, check it out. You get to see 6 of the 10 pages, so that's more than 50%. No reason not to come take a look, and it's pay what you want. So check it out in the links below under Archmage Reedy's. Next up, we have Bethrazi, a custom playable race of forest dwellers in tune with nature by 𝙁𝙤𝙤𝙪 Screamsong for $1.35 at 7 pages. It says the Bethrazi are a forest-dwelling, nature-loving, adventure-admiring, armor-covered group in the Forgotten Realms. So, nice-looking layout based on what we're seeing here, very Wizards-like. It says the particular environment where Bethrazi mature helps to shape their natural armor as each develops thick fur, scales, or feathers. Though such differences in armored covering are stark, the species can be recognized by the large antlers that grow from their heads. And then it says it's got detailed description of traits and abilities, cultural notes, 3 sub-races, tables for rolling multiple physical traits, a short story, and a narrative launching point. So yeah, one of the things that I liked about this was that it wasn't just 2 pages on a race. You get more about it. A lot of times when you get a race on DM's Guild, it's just like a page or 2 and then that's it. And so it's nice to see some additional content along with the race. So we get to see 2 of those pages. So you get to see the intro to the race here. And it says, hidden away from society, the Bethrazi exist almost entirely within the Wholewind Forest. only occasionally scattering to more distant locations. The forest maintains a balanced ecosystem for this group, whose population stays relatively constant without large increases or declines, so resources are always available. Since they are isolated, those that venture beyond may seem naive to the cultures of other beings who behave differently or hold different values in high regard. Bethrazi are generally friendly and welcoming to outsiders, but their physical appearance often discourages visitors from testing them in battle. So, and then you've got a whole section on names. It's nice. Again, sometimes when you get a new race, you don't get a whole lot of name suggestions, so or any. So I'm happy to see that they've got that as well. And looking, we don't get to see beyond the first couple of pages here, but there's a lot down here to see as well. So you can see that it's got art consistently throughout, and a short story, which is nice. So very interesting. I think a forest looking race could be fun, especially with the antlers. So yeah, check it out under Bethrazi and the links below. Give it a click. Next up, we have the Coliseum. Survive the Gnolls' bloody games in this adventure. And it's from 3 kobolds and a trenchcoat, so that's a little suspicious. And there's a $3 pay what you want price, and it's 14 pages. It's already got a 5-star rating. Prepare for a bloody battle in the Coliseum. Captured by the Gnolls, the party must figure out why they've been left alive and what significance the date in 5 days' time carries as they plot to survive the brutal arena, escape, and help their fellow captives, and bring down Yagrek and his Red Moon pack. So they're going to try to do a lot of stuff. It says brand new adventure maps, NPC storylines, fight through a potential total of 5 days worth of arena encounters, or sneak out and escape earlier. Improve your party's arsenal with 3 new magic items. Provide a deadly new foe to your party with 1 new monster, the Gnoll Bone Gnasher. It says it's a tier 1 for level 3 to 4 PCs. And let's take a look inside. So you've got, again, the wizard style layout, which is helpful. And here's your little table of contents, adventure summary, some hooks, expectations to set, and then some important NPCs. Tips on role-playing the Gnolls, that's helpful. And then beginning the adventure, so we're going to read some of this here. So it's giving you advice on maybe some other books to look at, official Wizards books. Here's the first bullet on role-playing the Gnolls. Speak in short, snappy sentences interjected by barks, growls, and yelps. You don't have to actually make noises if you don't want to. Describing the Gnolls, making them is sufficient. Most Gnolls don't speak common, and those that do likely don't use it much. The tongue is foreign and seldom used by them. So that's a nice tip there. I appreciate that they're adding that. You don't always get kind of role-playing tips in your modules, so I'm happy to see that. Over here, let's read the intro to the adventure in terms of the flavor text, what the players would hear. The valleys are normally a relatively safe place to travel through, but traffic along the Cardinal Road has been disrupted in recent days due to an increase in Gnoll attacks on the road. You all had the misfortune of learning so only after you were attacked by said Gnolls. If ready for a fight, you may have been able to fend them off, but you were taken by surprise and overwhelmed. Now, you all find yourselves waking up in the holding chambers of a large ruined sandstone coliseum, about 24 other prisoners in the cells with you. So, kind of sets up how you ended up in this coliseum, because you're going to do battle, maybe with some of these NPCs, or, other characters. And, it seems like a good setup for some Gnoll Coliseum fun. If you're looking for that, it's pay what you want on on Dungeon Masters Guild. Just look for Coliseum in the links below. Next we have Creature Crucible 13 Monstrous Hybrids from Thomas Johnson at $1 for 17 pages. This is welcome to the 13th edition of the Creature Crucible. This time we look at monsters from previous editions to bring to 5th edition that are somewhat hybridized. So many of them come from Athos and a few come from Mystara, but all are easily imported into the Forgotten Realms or other worlds. It says you're going to get 15 stat blocks, and they list them here. So you have Aranea, Braxet, Kalen, Losel, Lupin, Marashi. I just read a few there. There's more than that, but here's the list again inside. And then you get a description and the updated stat blocks for 5th edition. So we'll read a little bit of the Braxet here with a cool little piece of art. The Braxet is a huge, imposing creature that appears to be a cross between a turtle and a rhino. Thick, articulate shells cover its back and shoulders, providing it excellent protection. Its head is defended by a crown of 3 to 5 horny protrusions. It walks upright like most humanoids, though its great size allows it to tower over even the tallest Goliath. So you've got this large, giant creature here. Looks like a rhino or a turtle together. And then you got the stat blocks with the actions, etc. So yeah, if you're looking for some of these older monsters, maybe you'll see one in this list that you miss from one of these older editions. It's only $1, so click the link for Creature Crucible down below. Next we have the Crinti Half-Drow Outcasts by Benjamin Wales for $3.95. It's 11 pages. This is first introduced in The Shining South by Tom Prusa in 1993. The Crinti were half-drow rulers of Dombrath and Faerun. Dombrath and the Crinti were updated in 2004's The Shining South by Thomas Reed and 2007's The Grand History of the Realms by Ed Greenwood, but they have since only received passing mentions in 4th edition and a little bit in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide. So this document embraces the intriguing concept of a half-drow race informed by the rulers of Dombrath and the Forgotten Realms. It presents a more generic version of the Crinti suitable for any D&D setting where the traditional drow can be found. Notes on Dombrath and its history are provided throughout to help DMs and players find a starting point to establish Crinti in their own worlds. In addition to the standard racial outline, this document features a number of character options inspired by the Crinti of Dombrath. And then there's also Oath of Pain Paladin subclass and Shadow Marauder Ranger subclass based on the Scourge Maiden and Shadow Marauder prestige classes. So that's cool. They've taken some prestige classes from some older versions, turned those into subclasses, which is nice. And then there's 2 backgrounds as well. So in these 11 pages, you're getting a race, 2 subclasses, and 2 backgrounds. So that's a lot, as well as 6 feats and 3 new types of armor. So a lot packed into these pages. Let's take a look inside. So it looks like we're seeing something in the middle, so they're not giving away everything, which I appreciate. So because you can start your preview not on the first page. You're getting to 3 of the 11 pages, so we're getting to see a little bit of the subclass, looks like. So there's some heritages here, and then you've got subclass options. Oath of Pain, paladins who swear the Oath of Pain accept suffering as an inevitable part of life. Many are altruistic warriors who are always the first to sacrifice their bodies and well-being for the sake of those who need protections. Others are more vengeful, dedicating their lives to visiting pain upon those they deem deserving of it. So very cool background to the subclass, and then you got the tenets, the spells, and then you get into your Shadow Marauder down here. And then you start getting into the background. So you've got a Dark Cultist, Exile, and some others. So we'll just read some of the characteristics here for the Exile personality traits. I sometimes forget words in my non-native tongue and I have to explain what I mean in a roundabout way. I like to invent fake customs of my land and convince others they are real. So those are some fun little personality traits that you could definitely role play with. So yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Looks like there's a lot packed into this for $3.95. So check it out under Crinti in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Draconic Variants, a customization tool for dragons written by Formian. Yeah, not Formian, Formian. $5, 53 pages. Says, are you a dungeon master tired of pitting the same dragons against that pesky party? Do you feel that each battle against a dragon feels and plays the same? Do you want different draconic breeds to feel and play differently? Then this supplement is for you. So inside there's a plethora of customization options for dragons. Customize their breath weapons, add traits, give them special unique actions. Ready-made customizations for all chromatic and metallic dragons. 3 new chromatic breeds. There's the desert-dwelling brown sand dragons, the hunting gray fang dragons, and the underdark-dwelling purple deep dragons. Metallic dragons are not left out. 6 more metallic breeds are here: the tunneling adamantine, British iron, chaotic mercury, mysterious mithril, inquisitive orium, and city-dwelling steel dragons. So that's fun, and I think timely, because in October we're supposed to get Fizban's book from Wizards of the Coast focused on dragons as well, and this looks like it might work nicely from the DM angle. I'll be putting out a player book for the Fizban to go along with Fizban's book. But this one looks like it would be great on the DM side, and I like the sounds and names of these dragons that they're talking about here. But let's take a look inside. So, getting to see 3 of the 53 pages. There's a lot of pages in this book too, which I like. So you see some stat blocks in here. So we'll just read about brown dragons here. Also referred to as sand dragons, brown dragons of all the chromatics are least likely to heed great armies, rule kingdoms, or otherwise seek to carve out empires. They prefer the comfort of their desert lairs and are at home below the earth. Gliding through sand is as easy to them as flying to other dragons. So, cool little intro, helps distinguish the brown from the other chromatic dragons that are out there, official ones as well as the other ones presumably in this book. And then you've got stats for wormlings, young, and adult, as well as ancient. So kind of gives you all the different ones you need, because you've got CR2 here, right? And then you go all the way to CR20. So you can use these with a wide range of parties for various encounters. So I think this is good and very timely, and definitely something that I would look at if I was DMing. So check out Draconic Variants for Dungeon Masters in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Fighter Archetype Arcane Duelist by Blair McKenzie for $2, and it's 14 pages. It says fighters are not rare. No mercantile business, rulership, or town could survive without them. But there are rare inheritances passed down from teacher to student that stand out when they appear. An arcane duelist is one such. They draw on the same energies as a mage, but directed towards one place, the edge of their blade. A novice fighter of this tradition can damage creatures impervious to other weapons, and after honing their instincts, a master becomes the bane of spellcasters. So you've got the subclass, as well as a new feat, a new background, and a backstory. Just to get, it's like a game for writing backstories. It says to get your creative juices flowing, and then there's adventure hooks, ideas for NPCs who practice arcane dueling, stat blocks for NPCs in each tier. So I really like that. This is another example of someone putting out a subclass, but going beyond just, hey, here's the one page of the subclass. I've got a feed, I've got backgrounds, I've got stuff for the GMs to integrate it. You got to distinguish your products in some way. And so when people try to expand it beyond the subclass, I think that's great. And it's also good because if somebody doesn't maybe like the subclass, then they've got other things that they're getting out of it, and it's not a total loss. Not saying people wouldn't like this one. This one looks fun. It actually reminds me quite a bit of like a Jedi Knight, because you've got this kind of glowing sword here, and the Jedis were kind of like sword wielders in a way. So I think that's a good idea. And we get to see 4 of the 14 pages. You get to see the cover, the intro with all the linked table of contents, which is nice, and then you get to see the beginnings of the whole subclass. So that's nice. So you could actually check out the subclass, see if you like the subclass before you buy it, which I really appreciate. And then you get to see even a little bit of the feats here. So it's nice they have lore table here with the subclass. I always like to have those with subclasses, and my next book is going to have a bunch of subclasses with lore tables. So awesome to see that here as well. So let's find one of these later abilities to read, because I think the later ones are always the most interesting ones. So arcane reflexes. You are able to use your edge to defend against magic. While your arcane edge is active, if you observe a spell being cast on you or by a caster within your weapon's range, you can use your reaction to intercede. Roll an attack with your edge weapon versus the caster's spell save DC. If you succeed by less than 5, the spell is countered. If you succeed by 5 or more, you may choose a new target within 15 feet. You may not target the original caster. Okay, interesting twist there. So you've got the edge, arcane edge on your blade, and you can maybe counterspell something, or you can redirect it. So that's kind of fun, and that's at 10th level. So yeah, that looks like some nice work here. Good clean layout, easy to read, and like I said, it's packed with other stuff, and you can see the whole subclass, so why not peruse it and see if it works for you at this $2 price point here. It's under Fighter Archetype in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Gael's Shop of Secrets, a collection of strange and intriguing magical oddities by 𝙦𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙬𝙧 for $29.99, but it's 140 pages, so I can see why it's got that higher price point. A collection of mysterious creatures, strange and unusual magic items, entirely new ways of thinking about the game, and so much more. This book is a large compilation of all the work that the realm-hopping wizard gone shopkeeper Gael has done in his life. So there's a shopkeeper named Gael, and done a bunch of work, and it's all compiled here. From new spells to new races, anything and everything that you could be looking for can be found within the walls of his shop. Hidden amongst the pages are notes detailed in Gael's arcane testing logs, a series written by him experimenting upon the creatures, items, adventurers, etc. that he has encountered. If Gael's Shop of Secrets reaches 1,000 sales, then his logs in their entirety shall be collected and published in their own book. Enjoy exploring the chaotic trail left behind by the strange gnomish fellow and his signature artifact, the Candle of Madness, a D1000 wild magic table with minds of its own. So, sounds fun, little character. I also like that, there's a stretch goal if it reaches 1,000 sales, that it's going to be published in their own book. I'm not sure if you get that as part of this book. If you purchased it, you get the other book if it gets published, or if it's a separate purchase. But either way, that's cool that there would be additional material from Gael if you reach 1,000 sales on that book. So got contents, and then a bunch of information, background information on Gael, and then some character options. So you can see here's a list of subclasses, and they've got Artificer, Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, 2 for Cleric. Looks like they've got most of the classes. Not all of them. I don't see a Wizard, but that could be on the next page. And then some of them, they have multiples, like there's 3 for Rogue, 2 for Monk, 2 for Cleric. So quite a few subclasses in the 140 pages. So let's see. Between the realm-ending threats and the battles of legend, Gael walked about the realms, of which he later destroyed, bending the fundamental laws of magic wherever he went. Oftentimes, creatures who interacted with him were later morphed into nightmarish versions of themselves. Spells he cast that seemingly functioned as normal turned out to have gained sentience and roamed the planes in which he resided. Areas of holy influence or direct connection to the weave were twisted and changed into strange and unfamiliar zones of odd magic. Gael often attempts to go back and fix the repercussions of his being, but as a result, the people of the realm find and blame him for their troubles. They fight him off and frequently force him to cast more spells in self-defense, spilling more of his magic into the world that he is in. He typically shies away from violence, but once provoked, it often ends in cataclysmic consequences. So some good background on Gael there, and you can see they've got a lot of subclasses. Okay, yeah, so there's Eldritch Invocations as well, feats, and then here's some races they've got in here. Mysteries of the Shop, so there's creatures, items, Candle of Madness, Lords of Chaos, and then you've got the complement series, variant systems like variant combat, and then a bunch of spells, looks like, as well. So quite a lot packed into this 140 pages. So if you're interested in anything that I showed you here, or you want to just check it out further, click on the link to Gael's Shop of Secrets down below. Next we have Hoard of the Dragon Queen, Chapter 8, Castle in the Clouds, How to Steal Wyverns and Break Flying Castles by Mark Comfort, $6.95, 16 pages. So the first adventure to be published for 5th edition was The Tyranny of Dragons. It's, according to the author of this book, it says it's a great adventure, but requires a greater amount of DM planning than others. That's where this guide comes in. It cuts down on planning with updated and simple descriptions, fixes, and suggestions to make each chapter come alive for you and your players with minimal effort for you. So this is just focused on Chapter 8 of that adventure. And it looks like there's a bundle that has, the past chapter guides, some of the past ones. But presumably there's a guide for each chapter, at least up to Chapter 8, because Chapter 8 just came out this week. So If you're looking for guides to other chapters, they may have them, or you may want to consider the bundle down here as well. So let's take a look inside. So you get to see 7 of the 16 pages. So you've got some background on the different characters. You've got a little command rune handout. Here's how to end the chapter 8 with some options for you. Let's look at Giants of Skyreach. So let me zoom in a little here. So Wiglaf and Hold-Ear are willing to share information if the party agree to persuade Blagotkus to give up his foolish quest and return home. Although the ogres are commanded by the cult, they dislike the cultist treatment and look to Wiglaf and Hold-Ear. The ogres will do anything the giants command of them. So here's some dialogue, and they've got tips on Blagotkus. It says, portray Blagotkus as a tragic but evil figure, murdering his son, 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙪, in the Temple of the Eye of the All-Father, as well as enduring the death of his wife. Blagotkus' grip on reality has loosened severely. So, and then there's some dialogue. So it's just kind of giving you some additional stuff. If, maybe you're DMing this module from Wizards and you just need some help with setting up some of these characters, you want some extra dialogue for them to say, then this has got that for you. And then there's some more information in here on cultist duties aboard the Skyreach Castle. So if you want to help explain what the cultists are up to at a given point, that's got that for you. And it says, as the party approach the Red Wizard's arcane laboratory, they hear raised voices emanating from above, the sound of the scholarly argument between Azara Josh and Rath Mater, arguing over the proposed plan to summon Tiamat to the realms. Depending on the success of a perception check, a character might make out some or all of the dialogue below. So then you've got this dialogue that they can overhear. So just kind of weaving in, supplementing what you're getting from Wizards, and I think that's really helpful, especially for newer DMs. You may not have that skill yet at improv and coming up with stuff on the fly. So having a book like this to help, even just on hand, you don't have to always use it, just have it available, can be reassuring as you're DMing this particular module, the Tyranny of Dragons. So check it out under Horde of the Dragon Queen in the links below. Next we have Horror Beneath the Frost. Sometimes the scariest things come from within. A slasher horror for tier 2 characters, optimized for average party level of 8 by Jason Lee, $4.99 at 25 pages. It says, avalanches are hurling news in Icewind Dale. The frequency to which it is occurring, however, defies logic. What is the cause of this strange phenomenon? What horrors could have unleashed such force of nature and such reckless abandon? It says any homebrew campaign can have this, where avalanches occur, or it can go into the Icewind Dale setting from Forgotten Realms. Plague of Ancients seasonal campaign for adventure leagues also works. So you get the scaling advice for 3 to 7, 5th to 10th level characters. It's got a printer-friendly version, 4 digital maps, importable, D&D Adventures League compatible adventures, so that's nice. And then you've got some gorgeous art. Look at this. I mean, that's stunning. And then here's one of the maps. Again, beautiful. So I really like that. Definitely nice looking stuff. Let's take a look inside. So you get to see 6 of the 25 pages. So you got your contents here, information about the author, credits, all that good stuff. And some hooks to get you into the adventure, and then you go further into it here. You got the traveling hazards, some of the other hazards like frigid water to deal with. So let's look at one of the flavor texts here. Not yeti to die. Bang, your whole world shifts as you are all squished to one side. A hair-raising screech pierces your ears as the steel cage around you gets ripped off. Before you can regain your bearings again, blood splatters all over you at the same time as screams of pain assault your ears. You see Jed Porkin screaming and flailing as he is being dragged into the shadows. So yeah, this is horror, right? So you're going to have kind of scenes like that where it's a little scary, but that could be really fun, especially for people that like horror. So here's some hooks. It says nature's servant, druids, rangers, and other characters who share a bond with the natural world may be especially concerned with the unusual frequencies of the avalanches. Missing person case, someone close to the character who has uncharacteristically gone missing and they want to find out why. And then private investigators is another option. While the characters are gathered somewhere in the Tin Towns, they're approached by a worried woman who seeks heroic souls to find her husband. He was known to be in the area where an avalanche just occurred. So some cool options to set it up. Great art. I really particularly love this one. I think that's a stunning piece of art. This too are all good. Everything I've seen. Nice wizard style layout, easy to read, and good looking maps. So if you're looking for a scary, fun time, then check out Horror Beneath the Frost in the links below. Next we have Jarlaxle's Bag of Everything from Paper Miniatures at $19.95 for 130 pages. It's already a best copper seller. And it says for every 10 copies sold, they're giving away a free copy to the community. So that's really nice. And got lots of positive feedback already, it looks like. It's a massive volume of Underdark, developed by 9 different content creators with over 25 years of game writing experience. And here's just a short example of what they have. So you've got all kinds of spells, character options. Look at the beautiful artwork they have for the subclasses. Very nice feel to it. And it says there's 25 of those subclasses, as well as 40 new optional class features, 40 feats, and 5 backgrounds for Underdark character stories. They've got 8 lineages and magic stuff, including 45 new spells, 50 magic items, power of magical radiation, hidden class of spell casting with no magic, traveled faraway lands with ancient portals. Then they've got some DM tools for the Underdark environment, mechanical depth by using spelunking, 30 encounters, just a ton of stuff. And you can see they're including the Artificer as well. All the other classes are represented, backgrounds, feats, you name it. It looks like it's in here. Tons of spells, tons of magic items, and then all sorts of tools for the DM as well down here. So yeah, let's take a look inside. Love the cover, very nice art. Seems like it's very well put together. Gary Simpson and the whole team working on this. Lots of stuff. You can see the table of contents is vast, so that means lots of good stuff inside. Information on using the book. And here you've got Artificer, including not only the class, but here's some infusions and optional features. And then you get into the various subclasses. So Subterranean Slayer, this is for the Path of Exile, so this is a barbarian subclass. It says you have hunted creatures of the Underdark long enough to know their weaknesses and how hard to hit them. As a bonus action, after you have hit a creature with a weapon, you can choose to deal an additional damage of slashing, piercing, or bludgeoning, depending on your weapon damage type, against aberrations, humanoids, monstrosities, and plants. And once you use this feature, you must finish a long rest before you can use it again. So you can do some additional damage there, because you're a Subterranean Slayer with this Path of the Exiled. And then you've got your Bard. It looks very Tasha's. I like the look of this book. It's got a Tasha's feel to it, which is nice, and the art is cool. Here we're seeing in the 14 of the 130 pages, Reverberating Inspiration for the College of Echoes. When you use your bonus action to expend a Bardic Inspiration die, you may use a reaction to roll a die of the same type as your Bardic Inspiration die and add the result to the next ability check or attack roll of you or an ally that you can see. This extra die only lasts for 1 round before the echo fades away. You must take a short or long rest before using this feature again. So, cool little Bardic College here. You've got the College of Echoes. It says bards who join the College of Echoes study the sonorous acoustic properties of the Underdark, gaining an intimate understanding of the diverse sounds and culture of its inhabitants. These bards develop a supernatural ability to project their performance at great volumes across vast distances, but are most famous for enchanting their audience by augmenting their performances with glorious and mysterious echoes. Simply put, they are able to make the endless and passive stone of the world below sing. So yeah, it sounds really fun. And that's just a few. I mean, this book is 130 pages, so it's packed with subclasses and magical miscellany, all sorts of spells. I mean, look at some of the names of these: Life from Death, Clarity of Mind, Camouflage, Root Wall, I mean, I can only imagine how fun those are. Tiara of spiders, purple worm collar, heated armor, all kinds of magic items. And then you've even got the lineages, so you can play as a Gloaming or a 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙬𝙧𝙀. So giving you some options to become part of the Underdark for your character as well, which could be really fun. So this book, I think it should sell well. I mean, you guys, who doesn't need this resource of Underdark stuff? It's got tons and tons of stuff for you, whether you're a DM or a player. Take a look at this book. It's already a best copper seller. It just came out, and it looks so well presented with a lot of creators involved. So support those creators and give this title a try. It's in the links below under Jarlaxle's Bag of Everything. Give it a click. Next, we have The King's Hunt by Ryan Loyal-Struve for $4.95. It's 38 pages. Says, a king bears a horrible curse that torments all of his lands and subjects. The people cry out for salvation from the ravenous wolves that stalk the towns and countryside. Wolves the king has forbidden anyone from harming under penalty of death. Can you unravel the mystery surrounding the cursed lands of Blackheart and their tormented king, or be trapped there forever? Explore the lands of Blackheart, a once prosperous and peaceful realm that is now stalked by a demonic wolf and its vile offspring. Unravel the mystery surrounding the Wolf Guard and why they prevent anyone but the cursed king from hunting the murderous wolves under penalty of death. So you can see some scary wolves there. And it says it's a gripping adventure of intrigue and violence in the style of Ravenloft. It's suitable for characters levels 2 to 5 and can be played in 6 to 8 hours or expanded into an entire campaign. It requires minimal prep, and you got full color art and map. Look at this stunning map. That's just beautiful. Very nice. Whoever did that, good job. And then you've got nice, beautiful layout as well. Appendix here, so there's some factions you get in this as well. Denizens, kind of cool art for Leopold Streltz, and this is also by Eternal Rule. And up here you've got so Ryan not only is the writer, he's the artist, or she or they, not sure what pronoun they're using, but that's nice. Good job, Ryan. You're talented with this art for sure. So let's take a look inside. So yeah, I wish I could draw half as good as you. All right, so let's see. Background, setting up the adventure, more fun art, nice adventure overview, and yeah, let's see. Okay, so you've got arrival in Blackheart. The adventurers arrive in the lands of Blackheart, where they witness the impact of the plague of wolves, and then witnessing the king's hunt, the players witness the king's hunt, wherein the king is seemingly slain by a monstrous red wolf. The blood wolf, wounded in the hunt, retreats to a place of safety while the king is removed to his castle to recuperate. So that's just the start of it. Let's find another little piece that we can read here. Soon impenetrable fogs began to roll in from the forest. It became apparent that the land was cut off from the surrounding regions, and that the choking fog that had been slowly accumulating at the borders had finally become not simply difficult to navigate, but altogether impassable. The wolf problem seemed to diminish following the king's injuries, and after nearly a year, the king announced a grand hunt in celebration of his miraculous recovery, to be followed by a feast. Though his body still pained him, he vowed to sit upon a horse again and hunt down the great wolf, now called the Blood Wolf by the common folk. The king tracked down the beast, and though gripped by the renewed terror, stood his ground and engaged it. Again, the wolf bested the king and savaged him as terribly as before, and then vanished into the forest. Again, the king was brought back to his castle, and again appeared to have perished, only to awaken a few days later. So interesting story that this king is like getting slain by wolves and coming back, and then slain and coming by wolves. And look at this art. Okay, so it's got this outline here of a wolf's face. You only kind of notice it after looking at it for a minute, I think, because you've got the wolves coming in from the sides at this king, but then you've got the shadows that it makes with the overarching forest, and even the placement of the moon is kind of like one of the eyes. That's really nice design. And then you've even got some wolves here in this little side detail on the cover as well. So definitely somebody with talent behind this book. I would recommend taking a look at it. It is under King's Hunt in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Monster Loot Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft by Anne Gregerson. And it says, when brave adventurers face the dangers of the world, they want something to show for it. The supplement provides individual loot for each monster appearing in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, as well as a basic crafting and harvesting system that works well with 5th edition. And then there's some examples of some loot, and this is a series, so this author has taken all of the books like Monster Manual, Volo's Guide, Mordenkainen's Tome, all of those. You can see a ton of them down here, and just kind of provided loot for that book so that you don't have to like invent the loot, whatever, right? It's just, you just look up the creature or the villain or whatever, and there's some loot right there ready for you to go. And I think that's a very good strategy for publishing these books to supplement the existing books. Just it's ready to go. Grab it, got it. Don't need to prepare. Just look up the creature or person being looted. So here's some examples. Relentless Slasher. One slasher's knife requires attunement. The knife functions as a simple weapon that deals piercing damage and necrotic damage on a hit and has the finesse, light, and thrown properties. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack using this weapon, you can cause the creature to suffer a lingering wound that deals necrotic damage at the start of each of the creature's turns. The wound ends if the creature regains hit points or if a creature uses an action to stanch the wound, which requires a successful medicine check. So very cool. And then 1d8 vials of relentless blood is also there. So when consumed, you are immune to any effect that would sense your emotions or read your thoughts. And that lasts for 24 hours. So just two cool little things. And you could even use these items individually. You can have the relentless blood be its own little item, even though it's loot here. So some nice options, and they seem very themed to Ravenloft with the necrotic damage and the blood names and stuff, slasher knife. So I appreciate that the author is keeping kind of in that feel of Ravenloft as well. Very nice. So let's take a look inside. You get to see 7 of the 27 pages. So you can see, so here's all the new monsters, and you're going to get to look at all their loot options, and then there's also some monster manual ones too, which is good. These might be ones that are referenced in Ravenloft, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Not sure how it's determined. I'm guessing that's what happened, because a lot of these books do reference each other. Love this little runic border down here, and then it shows you how to use the book. You have harvesting checks and harvest time, types of loot. Yeah, nice layout, nice art. Let's take a look at a little bit of how to use this book. It says, the work is half the reward, but what if you want the whole reward? After braving the dangers of an acid-spewing dragon or the petrifying gaze of a snake-headed Medusa, it is reasonable that the adventurers who survive the monster's onslaught might claim some sort of prize. This document supplies a list of items and loot that traveling adventurers might find on the monsters they encounter and slay in their fantastic journeys. What follows in this section are some light mechanics for harvesting dead creatures. There are different types of loot that can be found on a monster, not all of which are necessarily useful for a group of traveling adventurers. The supplied loot tied to each monster, simply suggestions, and can be changed by the DM to fit the circumstances. The loot found within this document has been designed with the rules below in mind for 2 reasons. First, prevents the characters from immediately picking something up from a monster and using it seconds later. Also, it assumes that there is a body left to harvest once the creature has been killed. This should be considered when the adventurers are fighting demons and devils, which are likely to leave no corpse as they respawn in their home plane after being killed on the material one. So, giving you some harvesting options, shows you how to do the harvesting check DC, all this stuff. So that could be useful even without the loot in here. So I think there's a lot of value here. I like the fact that it's covering every single monster, so you don't have to even think about it. It's just there. And I also appreciate that, as we talked about down here, these can work on their own. You don't have to have the vials of relentless blood be associated with the relentless slasher. Maybe somebody killed a relentless slasher, or they relentless slasher and has these vials on them, so you can, or is selling them, right? So you can have these be their own thing as well. So check it out under Monster Loot in the links below. Next, we have The Monster Under the Bed, a Warlock Patron by Sven Truckenbrot for $1.95 at 11 pages. It says, many of us went through that phase, lying awake every night, worrying about what lurks in the darkness of our bedrooms, in particular under the bed, that very place we are supposed to find rest in. Most ultimately grow out of that phase, leaving the night terrors behind. Others always keep worrying, even in adulthood, retaining that ingrained primal fear of the dark. But a few, well, some embrace that fear and get to befriend, or at the very least, come to an agreement with that monster under the bed. Isn't that the truth? Almost every kid is scared of that, monster under the bed or in the closet or something. So a nice angle for this story here. Comes with a new Warlock Patron, 3 new spells, 2 invocations, and a creature, the young monster under the bed, and some nice artwork. I love this one especially. Very cool. And Sven is a good writer. And in fact, Sven has an encounter I'm excited for you to read in my next book coming out in September for the Feywild. It's really fun and exciting, and I wish I could talk about it today, but I can't. Gotta wait till we get closer to the release date, but it's going to be exciting. And so I'm excited for this release because I've read Sven's writing quite a bit while editing, and it's good. So I definitely recommend checking out Sven's stuff. Let's take a look inside and see what, oh wow, look at all this cool art. Fun little layout here. Definitely cool to just even scroll through a title when it has all this fun art and kind of interesting different layout. The landscape view is always fun. And it looks like Sven did all of it, so that's good, other than some of the illustrations. So very good. So let's see. Let's find a spot to read for you. So this is interesting, introducing the monster under the bed. You've got your expanded spell list. So let's see. Whispers in the dark. During a long rest, the monster under the bed comes to commune with you. To some, the monster appears physically, a tentacle wiggling out from under their bed or a sleeping bag, 2 glowing eyes in the darkness of their wardrobe or the forest. To others, the monster just appears in their dreams or communicates with whispers that could just as well be a rustling of leaves or creaking floorboards. So that's nice. Sven's giving you like various options on how the patron can appear to the character. It doesn't always have to be the same, and that's nice. The monster's disposition varies from night to night. Roll a d20 to determine its mood. Okay, very cool. So you've got dreadful as an option, delightful as another option, dreamy. So it says, for dreamy, the monster is not very communicative tonight, but you sense that it designs to share its wisdom. You just need to ask. You gain the benefits of a divination spell and receive the answer in a prophetic dream. Very cool. And then keeps going on here to the 14th feature, 14th level feature, which is nice. And then there's some mechanics tips, and then you've got spells. So there's some fun new spells, Eldritch Invocations, and just tons of stuff. And even here's the stat block for the young monster under the bed. So loads of stuff in here, like we talked about earlier in the video. When you can get a subclass, but not just the subclass, you get this additional stuff. I always think that's the way to go, because if I have the choice between a book that just is 1 or 2 pages on a subclass, or a book that's got those pages but then all this other stuff, I'm going to go with the one with the other stuff, I think, because then I get more reusability out of my purchase, right? So very good. Love the art and really like what Sven is up to. So I recommend it. Monster Under the Bed. Click that link down below. Give it a try. Next we have the Mountebank, however you say it, by Zero Reynolds. It's a pay what you want title at $1 suggested price for 4 pages. In a reality where real magic is commonplace, those without such power or the physical might of warriors must rely on either quick hands or the creativity of the mind. The Mountebank is one who lives by both and plies their trade not only for coin, but survival against otherwise impossible odds, deception, distraction, misdirection, and a keen eye. These are the laws of the craft. Are you watching closely? Not close enough. So yeah, tricky character here. It says the Mountebank brings the flavor of stage and close-up magic to your adventures. This archetype relies on the sleight of hand, ability to read the audience, and ingenuity to design contraptions that aid tricks to survive encounters, both personal and potentially fatal. If you can control the audience, you can control the show. So that's really cool. I like that it's got this sort of showy side to it, but at the same time playing tricks. It says new abilities, new tool proficiency, new items. So again, another archetype with some additional stuff. So I always like that. Let's take a look inside. So 𝙬╤ always has awesome art. We looked at one of 𝙬╤'s titles last week, and the art was really gorgeous, and this is no exception. So it's awesome to see that. And yeah, so I'm butchering the name. I don't know if it's Mountebank or Mountebank. I'm guessing Mountebank, but I could be wrong. So yeah, look at this. It was cool little features, and then you've got optional rules, and here's a new tool, stagecraft kit. That's exciting. You don't get a lot of those. So a brand new kit. It says a kit that contains ingredients and contraptions designed to aid in the creation of physical illusions and misdirects. Contains the following: flash paper, instant pipe smoke, smoke egg, invisible thread, magician's wax, and plant oil. And then it explains what each of those little ingredients is. That's awesome. I mean, I you know, the kits get over and over and over the same ones, right? So it's like, let's mix it up. Let's have a new one. So let's look at one of these abilities. Transposition at 9th level. Your ability to deceive and distract confuses the enemy even as it draws their attention. As an action, you can make a deception check contested by a target creature's insight check. The creature must be within 20 feet of you and have at least average intelligence. On a success, the creature is compelled to target you, but has disadvantage on its attacks. This effect lasts for 1 minute until it takes damage, or until you and the target are more than 30 feet apart. So that's cool, kind of forcing the creature to target you, which could have advantage for you. I'm not talking mechanically advantage, but maybe there's a reason you need it to focus on you, right? And so you use this ability, and now it's focused on you, and then maybe somebody sneaks up behind it or whatever, right? And then at the same time, that creature would have disadvantage, and I am talking mechanically there. So cool little trick. And I like kind of the look of this subclass, because I think it goes well with this theme of being a trickster. So very fun. Check it out under Mountebank Archetype down below in those links. Next we have Paladin Oath of the Sleepless by Jordan Valentine. Love this cover art. Really gorgeous. Might be by Tony Warren here. Not sure. It says, inspired by Sleepless by Sarah Vaughn and Leila Del Duca. It's a new paladin subclass for characters who swear not to rest until they've completed their goal. Give your party the solace of a restful night and fight your enemies with dreamy illusion magic. Paladins who swear the oath of the sleepless are committed to protecting an important person, guarding their companions, and staying vigilant against the darkness. Sleepless nights, as they are known, are unfailingly devoted to keeping their watch and must make a grave sacrifice for their abilities. Their natural lifespans are reduced by 1/3. As a paladin of the sleepless advances in power and age, they grow dark bags under their eyes, develop eccentricities, and begin to experience a magical phenomenon known as the drift. When a sleepless night begins to drift, the tangible realities of the waking world dissolve into a dreamlike state, offering uncanny premonitions and surreal hallucinations. Very cool. So I like that. I like the concept. You know, we saw the monster under the bed previously, and then this one's also dealing with kind of having sleep challenges, and I like that. You could maybe put those two together and have sort of a sleep themed adventure, especially with Ravenloft, because that's already kind of like nightmares and stuff, right? You could combine those together. So let's take a look inside. So yeah, this art is really fun. I love that. It says, I will not rest until the kingdom of Galifar is restored, a sleepless night of Eberron. So paladins who swear the oath of the sleepless are committed. Okay, so we've kind of read that already. Don't want to read that again for you. Got the tenets down here. Sleepless, oath spells, channeling divinity. So you're getting to see 2 of the 4 pages. And so let's read some of the tenets here. Stay vigilant against the darkness. Nightmares come in many forms. You must anticipate them and defeat them. Watch over those who sleep. You remain alert so that others may know peaceful slumber. Your sacrifice brings serenity. So when you take this oath, you become immune to the unconscious condition. You no longer need to sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep. When you take a long rest, there is no limit to the amount of time you can spend standing watch. In addition, you do not suffer exhaustion from skipping a long rest. So we know who's going to be on watch if this character is in the party. it's going to be this one. And that's a cool feature, because, you know, maybe there's something in your story that having somebody awake and being the only one to see it go down would be cool. You know, maybe they see something shimmering in the distance and then they have to report it to everybody in the morning, and you can kind of play with the fact that only one of the party saw something, and relying on them to explain it properly can lead to some interesting interpretation and kind of help you foreshadow something maybe. But I like this. I love the art. I think it's clean, easy to read the way they've laid it out here. And it's a cool concept. I think sleep is something that we all do, right? So having story around that, and just focusing on maybe going in a different direction with sleep. You know, clearly this class doesn't need to sleep, so that could open some interesting, especially in like scary places like Ravenloft, could really open up some interesting avenues for stories. So check it out under Paladin Oath of the Sleepless in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we got Path of the Runecaster from Micah Muldowney. It's a free, completely free, it's not even suggested free, it's completely free title for 8 pages. So definitely want to give that a click. In the Wild North, many barbarians inhabit lands once ruled by the children of Anam al-Father. Whether it is through distant giantish heritage or the study of the remnants of ancient runes left in the ruins of giant cities, barbarians that follow the path of the Runecaster learn to harness the power of magic runes to augment their own prowess and deepen the power of their rage. This barbarian path includes options for all of the giantish runes included in the Storm King's Thunder campaign. So that's cool. It gives you some more use out of that Storm King's Thunder campaign. Beyond that, because you've got this whole new barbarian subclass that could spin out of that, or even just use it without playing that campaign. But I like that it's extending the life of what Wizards has provided here. So you've got Rune Magic, Living Rune, Empowered Rune here. So okay, so we've got Path of the Runecrafter, nice artwork. Getting right into all the abilities, and then you can see all the little runes here, going into what those are. This Death Rune, Dragon Rune, all kinds of runes in here. Very nice. And then Living Rune, Empowered Rune. So let's see what Living Rune says. Your runic practice weaves the magic of your runes into your very being. Starting at the 6th level, you learn a new rune. Whenever you learn a new rune, you may also replace one rune you already know with another one. Whenever you are attuned to a rune, you can choose to increase one ability score of your choice by 2, or increase 2 ability scores of your choice by 1. Whenever you're attuned to a different rune, you can alter this choice, reducing the scores you previously increased and improving different scores. So haven't really seen that before, where you can kind of change your ability scores. That's an interesting idea, I think, especially with those runes. So, you know, and it requires attunement, so it's not like you're just doing it in the middle of a battle. You gotta attune first. So, and I like the graphics used for these runes. It looks really lifelike. So let's just read one of the runes here. The Sky Rune, it's called Sky, but it's actually the Cloud Rune. The trickery and deceit of the Cloud Giants lives in this rune. While attuned to this rune, you have advantage on deception and sleight of hand checks. This rune is invoked by entering a rage. While raging, creatures must make a perception check against you to make sure you are where they think you are for the first time they attack each turn. On a failed roll, they make the attack against another creature of your choice within range, or the attack is wasted if there are no suitable targets. So, kind of cool trickery there with that rune. So yeah, if you're looking for some fun with runes, you just are looking for like a Runecaster class, but you haven't found one you like, then you can have this subclass that kind of does the same thing. So look for Path of the Runecaster in the links below. Next, we have Ravings of the Mad Leper, a cavalcade of player options, and it's by Leprous Harry, and it's 79 pages at $7.99. Lo, the furious mind of Harry, a leprous madman whose insanity is beyond recognition. Here lay his ravings of strange worlds filled with enigmatic characters and peculiar stories. Do mind the step, as the descent is steep down this well of folly, where no light can be shed. Therein you will find a bonanza of player options, mostly related to character classes and subclasses. Revel in the thrill of trying superficially tested supplements, or feel free to banish them to the anonymous pit of obscurity from whence they came. So you've got Artificer, Barbarian, Bard. Basically, it looks like all the classes get something. Some of them get, 4 different subclasses, and so it's a good mix. Let's take a look inside. But 79 pages, that's quite a lot of stuff, right? Especially for $7.99. That's a good price for a lot of pages. So here you see all of the subclasses again, and then you've also got spells. Nice wizard style layout. So not really getting to see any of the particular class. It'd be nice to see at least the first page maybe of one of them, if you can. I know sometimes I'm the same way. I don't want to give away too much in the preview, but if you can maybe even put an excerpt on the catalog page as an image, that would be cool, so we can just read one of the subclasses would be cool. It says, what is the motivation behind the colossal endeavor? This publication is intended as an homage to Harry's roots, having been introduced in the marvels of the world's greatest role-playing game by his mother some years after she herself had played with his aunt, uncle, and late father. Through the years, his brothers and him spent exploring confines of the game by themselves, to the years spent alongside his wife and their friends playing various role-playing games and watching the game grow. So yeah, Leprous Harry must be have played quite a bit. So it says use this toolbox to customize your games. Yep, definitely an option. So very cool artwork. Lots of stuff on display. You can read a little bit about what each of the subclasses is here. So like the fighter, there's a fencer, a suave warrior. Way of the Hardened Steel for the monk is a monastic warrior zealously dedicated to martial accomplishments. But yeah, like if we could get even just one image here, I think that would be helpful. Get a sample, $7.99 is a good price for 79 pages, but that way people can see before they buy this book full of those, then get a sampling of what one of those is like. And as I always say, guys, a lot of times by the time you watch this video, that's been added if I suggest adding something, because these authors often will take my advice and update a broken preview or add something just so you can get a taste. So give it a try. Click the link. There's so much stuff in here. There's probably something good that you can use. So check it out under Ravings of the Mad Leper. Next we have Unearthed Arcana, the Symbiont Class, Rejuvenated, by Al Sorensen. It's a pay-what-you-want title at a suggested price of $1, 9 pages. Remade, renewed, and rejuvenated. Get your copy of the newest version of the Symbiont class. Bound in flesh and mind, the Symbiont is a perfect union between two beings working together in beautiful biological harmony. A class designed to adapt to any encounter. The Symbiont allows players with a love for versatility and customization to create a wholly unique character using dozens of player options and suggestions, whether you want to become a living hive for an alien race or wish to make yourself more plant than man. There is an option for you. Choose not only between an invertebrate, plant, or pathogen symbiote with which you share your body, but also how you hone your newfound biomantic skills. It says a warlock with a druidic patron and the intellect of a wizard. So it's a combination of 3 classes in feel, not literally. All right, so we'll look through this. We've got 4 of the 9 pages, so quite a bit to see here. So let's read some of the intro here. An elf opens his mouth, and from it a swarm of angry wasps fly, proceeding to relentlessly attack and cripple a group of raging orcs. A human soldier with green skin and clad in golden armor rushes forward on the battlefield. She thrusts her hand forward, and from it a vine springs, latching onto her foe and dragging them close for a finishing blow. Whatever the infection, a symbiont serves as the vessel for a sentient symbiotic organism. In exchange for protection and the occasional meal, the host receives amazing new abilities from its new co-pilot, a warlock with a druidic patron and the arcane intellect of a mystic. So, very cool. I like this notion that it's like a symbiotic relationship, and then based on that, you get your abilities. And so you've got all these options here. Biomancy, Invigorate, Iron Immunity. So at second level, your immune system has reinforced by your symbiote to make you immune to disease. Okay. And then mutual defense. At third level, you can choose how to best utilize your symbiote in battle and become a full biomancer, symbiotic fighter, or an atrocity, all detailed at the end of the class. So they got 3 subclasses for you. Adaptive physiology. So you know me, I love plants. In my lineages book, I've got the blighted, which is another kind of character that's playing host to a plant, and it's a lineage. So you could actually have a blighted that is a symbiont, which would be, I think, a really fun combination. So if you purchase that book, this might be a good thing to combine with it and really have a symbiont blighted character, which it could be a really cool combination. So yeah, I like this. I think there's a lot of room for this because there's really nothing like this as a class. So that's what you want to see when somebody creates a class. You want to have something that's just unheard of, totally different than what's out there. And those descriptions I read of, like, you know, the vine growing across and getting the enemy. I mean, to me, that's very vivid and shows immediately how fun and different this class could be compared to other classes. So I think it's you know, especially at a pay what you want price of $1, you know, definitely could grab this, combine it with the blighted, or do your own thing. I really like it. It's the Symbiont class rejuvenated in the links below. Next we have Underwater Campaigns, Laws of Chaos, by Daniel Chivers and Marco Bertini for $19.99. And it says it's for a short time only. It's $19.99, so it's not going to always be that price. It's probably going to be higher. So definitely, if you're interested, check it out today. And it says it's the perfect resource for exploring the wonder and danger of underwater worlds and adventure, oceans, lakes, rivers, sewers, and flooded ruins. Whether you want to add an aquatic room in your dungeon, flesh out trade with the ocean creatures, or create an epic tale at 20,000 feet, this work is for you. So you've got Underwater Adventure Seed, 68 random underwater encounters, underwater rules for combat skills, feats, and magic, 67 new aquatic monsters, a colossal creature size, 26 new aquatic NPCs, the return of Gael, 35 spells, 19 magic items, new disease mechanics, 2 unique underwater locations, professional layout, 100 pictures on 166 pages. Yeah, so lots of pages to this one. You can see here the table of contents. So you've got the difficulties, oddities, underwater combat, underwater equipment, and all kinds of fun stuff. Seafloor, very cool. Magic items. Look at all these items. And then you've got this this creature, and this one is a huge CR14. And then you've got this Sea Elf Whisperer NPC. So beautiful art, nice layout. I love this. Let's read one of the items here. Bottled breath. This bottle contains a breath of elemental air. When you inhale it, you either exhale it or hold it. If you exhale the breath, you gain the effect of a gust of wind spell. If you hold the breath, you don't need to breathe for 1 hour, though you can end this benefit early. So yeah, that's nice. You could use that to breathe underwater, or not have to breathe underwater, I guess, basically. Very cool, awesome items here. Dive armor, elemental canteen. So yeah, let's take a look inside. So yeah, just really nice art throughout. I think they've done a great job laying this out, making it really nice. And you know, there's so much stuff that you don't have for doing underwater business, right? It's if you're wanting to do that, but you feel like, man, I just don't, there's nothing, not enough. I'm gonna have to invent so many things if you're a DM considering it. This seems to like fill in a lot of gaps for those considering underwater campaigns. So I would definitely take a look at this if you even considered it. And you don't even have to use it for underwater because there's spells, right? Spells that you can use elsewhere. There's items you can use elsewhere. Yeah, they're probably best suited for underwater stuff, but I'm guessing, I mean, looking at all this stuff, that there's some stuff in here that can be used elsewhere. So it says here for Impossible Stuff Sack. This oiled leather backpack protects any unenchanted item stored within it for more than 1 hour. After this time, the item cannot rust, oxidize, or degrade naturally for up to 24 hours after being removed from the impossible stuff sack. So that could be used out of the water as well. Could hide some stuff in there. And you've got spells, air breathing, airy water. I mean, getting to see 37 of the pages. There's so much stuff. Look at all these actions, and yeah, I think this has got a lot going on. I mean, 166 pages dedicated to underwater. I mean, I don't think anything's been done like that in 5th edition, right? Purely underwater stuff. I mean, this is probably going to be the book for underwater stuff in 5th edition. So I would definitely check it out if you're a Dungeon Master. And, if you click that link down below at that price point, $19.99, you're going to be helping out the channel quite a bit as well. So consider clicking the link there and supporting what surely was a lot of work on these authors' parts. I'm definitely seeing some good stuff that I would use if I was a Dungeon Master. So check it out under Underwater Campaigns in the links below. Next we have Villagers, seemingly normal NPCs with dark secrets. That's always fun. It's by a lot of people. I'm not going to read them all, but we've got Samuel Branch, Plot Hooks, Alexander Brockman, Stefan Danksa, Kinhart, and a bunch more people. $9.95, and it says, what if the antagonists look like just any other person? What if the big bad wouldn't draw any attention at the market? What if the villain was just a villager? Enter Villagers, another epic release from Plot Hooks. Inside you'll find 74-page collection of detailed NPCs that seem totally normal in their communities, but harbor a dark secret in their proverbial basement. There's everything from a toy maker that secretly crafts playthings that assassinates targets to a harbor master who's really providing leading a pirate ring to a lizard folk that's actually 3 kobolds under disguised selves scouting the town for invasion. So all kinds of kobold fun there. Enjoy 25 of these incredible characters, each with amazing art, backstory, stat blocks, and plot hooks for including them in your campaigns. You'll even find 7 new magic items and a new spell amidst the chaos. So yeah, this Plot Hooks puts out some fun, good stuff. I love the cover. Let's take a look inside. See the 74 pages here. Yeah, fun concept for sure. 24 of the 74 pages are on display. That's nice. You've got the credits. Here's your content. So all these different villagers, magic items, and NPCs by CR rating. That's a nice helpful chart so you can look them up all the way up to CR 18. So that's really helpful. You get to see some of the people, what their public persona is like, and then their dark secret, plot hooks. Yeah, very, very cool, nice style. We'll look at one of them in detail in a minute, but I want to just kind of scroll through the whole thing so you can get a feel for it. It's got some nice art. Reminds me of Darkest Dungeon, which is a fun game, PC game. Very cool style to it. They always do a good job at Plot Hooks making their stuff look good. So yeah, let me find somebody to read about here. So Aldar Frostflower is a middle-aged half-orc known for the excellent beers that he brews at his very popular tavern. So here you have like a tavern keeper that ends up being the big bad. That could be cool. It says Aldar is a well-known and respected member of the community, praised for his generosity and down-to-earth attitude, which he maintains even after becoming one of the richest people in town. Its residents agree that the Frostflower Brewery and Tavern serves the best beer in the area, if not in the whole world. Aldar is welcoming and charming host, acting as the ever-smiling face of his business. And then dark secret, there's much more to Aldar's beers than excellent taste. In fact, even their delicious qualities might be no more than effects of the magic that the half-orc weaves into his brews. Skilled at the art of enchantment, Aldar makes sure that every single one of his beers is exquisitely remembered, and that his customers recall himself and Frostflower Brewery and Tavern with the same magnificence. His charitable donations are also part of the deception, helping his community-oriented image. Behind the facade of a joyful and generous host, Aldar pursues his greed with ruthlessness, not hesitating to use his customers as pawns. So, and then there's some plot hooks and a lot more. I'm just giving you a taste of what's there. And then, of course, the stat block and 𝙒𝙪𝙧𝙾 is listed here as a 1/2 challenge, but you've got all kinds of options, right? Imagine the surprise if the tavern keeper turns out to be the big bad for whatever adventure you set up for your players. I think that's a great idea, and they packaged it with some beautiful art, fun ideas, and you can even take just one of these hooks or just one of these characters out of here and build a whole campaign around it, or you can string a couple of them together, maybe a whole village of these folks vying for control. And then you've got magic items too that we didn't talk about much. So I think there's a lot packed into the pages of Villagers. It's definitely one I would be interested in reading. And it's only $9.95 for 74 pages of fun. So check it out in the links below under Villagers, and surprise your party with an unassuming villain that they're not expecting. All right, that's the last title for the DM's Guild this week. We're going to move on to DriveThruRPG, but before we do, please follow me on Twitter at Splinterverse. You're going to hear about all the new books I have coming out. Our Feywild book is coming out in September. It's massive. It's well over 100 pages. So much stuff for DMs and players alike. I can't wait to share it with you. We're getting closer. It's hard to keep it a secret. There's just too much fun in it. So coming soon on that. Also, if you please subscribe to the channel, share the video, like the video, leave a comment. All those things help a lot. And consider clicking some of the links to any of the books and making a purchase. Even if you don't buy one of the books, if you just click the link and then buy something on DM's Guild or DriveThruRPG, it's going to help the channel. But hopefully you're going to help support all the wonderful creators that we've shown today and are going to continue to show in the second half of today's video. And then if you're being especially generous, consider Potions Unlocked. It's a book we wrote that's available on DriveThruRPG. It's got a print on demand. It's got everything you need for potions. And then Van Richten's Librum of Lineages on Dungeon Masters Guild. It's got all kinds of lineage fun, including optional rules on how to remove a lineage or string them together for a really interesting journey for a character. Those are also linked below, so click those links. All right, on to DriveThruRPG. Our first drive-thru title this week comes from Abyssal Brews, and it's called Campfire, an Elegant Travel System. It's $4.99 at 9 pages, and it's for 5th edition. And as always, it looks stunning. Everything from Abyssal Brews is good-looking and very useful from my experience. It says it's an elegant travel system, and it provides a middle ground between simply montaging travel and rolling for encounters on a table. And that's much needed, right? Who likes just montaging it or rolling on a table? Those are kind of boring. Can be fun, I guess, but there's got to be something more, and it sounds like Abyssal Brews has found that here. It says it focuses on interesting skill usage, roleplay, and meaningful windfalls and hardships that last after travel. The system can resolve any travel in 15 minutes if you choose, or it can be expanded with many roleplay opportunities along the way. So I like that you have the option to make it a quick 15-minute thing. Maybe while you guys are having a break, or you came back from a break, you just do a quick 15-minute travel section. Or at the start of your journey, you can do 15 minutes, whatever. And then if you want to make it a bigger deal, you can. So I like that. It says, our goal was to create a streamlined system that gives travel weight without bogging down the rest of the gameplay. So that's a very good goal. So it resolves any travel in 15 minutes. Yep, can be expanded, easily slots into any setting, promotes creative skill usage, designed to be scalable. And then there's these meaningful windfalls and hardships that last after travel is over. So that's cool, because then travel has a lasting impact, right? It's not like, oh, this is a clearly defined travel section. Nothing matters, in or outside of this. It's separate from everything else. This carries it forward into your storytelling, which can make a real difference later down the road. So you're getting printable version, form fillable PDFs, all kinds of worksheet stuff here. So let's take a look inside. So always looks nice. They've got the wizard style, but with their own twist on it, which I like. Phases of travel, preparation. So you can just see 3 of the 9 pages. So we'll take a look at some of this. So characters often have somewhere that they need to go, and that place may be several days away. Traveling to a location is part of the adventure, but it is also not a part that should impede what they find at their eventual destination. It's important to remember that for players, often the destination is more interesting than how they get there. It's your job as a game master to employ this rule set only when it makes sense. Opportunities abound for setting interesting travel, but take stock of how interested your party is in the journey and adjust your situation as needed. So they're being realistic. You may have a group that doesn't want to have their travel expanded. They'd rather montage it or something, but I appreciate that they're being upfront about that. But let's look at what they have for phases of travel. Preparation. During this phase, the character should gather whatever supplies they might need for the trip. And then expedition, this is the actual journey itself. And then resolution, this is where the characters arrive at their destination. So you've got your travel DC down here. The travel DC is a summation of the difficulties the characters will face on the road. It is calculated by determining your terrain difficulty and adding your weather modifier to it. Oh, okay, so then there's this list of terrain difficulty and your weather modifier. And then you have a destination score. Your destination score is the target that your players will try to hit in order to find their destination. This is an abstraction of the length of their journey. It is assumed that your players will get to their destination eventually, and that the destination score represents how long they are exposed to the wilderness. For brief journeys, it is recommended that you don't use these rules and instead allow your players to just simply get there. Set the destination score using the destination score table. So they've got short journeys, 3 to 5 days, moderate journeys, 5 to 9 days, and long journeys, 10 days to a fortnight. So yeah, they're kind of laying it out very simply and easily. I find this very easy to understand. Doesn't seem very complicated. I mean, your weather modifiers, there's only 4. Difficulty, terrain, there's only 4 options. So I think you can pretty much memorize this quickly and start implementing it. So it's the kind of thing where, like, once you've read through this and processed it, you can just implement it from memory, whenever you need it. Of course, you can refer back to this, but it seems like it's small enough that it's not going to be that difficult to kind of get a good handle on it and implement it, and then use it when you need to. I love that they're thinking of everything from the terrain to the weather to the destination and how long it's going to take to get there. And we're just looking at the first 3 pages, right? There's a whole 9 pages of stuff here to check out with gorgeous art and a talented team behind it. So I encourage you to click the link to Campfire in those links below and give it a try. Next up, we have Carcass Crawler, issue number 1, an official old school essential zine. So this is officially from Necrotic Gnome. It's already a bestseller seller in the first week at $7.50 for 32 pages, and got a number of people involved, but it's listing the author as Gavin Norman. It's an official old school essential zine. Each issue is packed with new material for your games, including new character classes and races, new spells and magic items, new monsters, optional expanded rules, news, previews of in-development products, short adventures, and more. And so in this particular issue, they have 6 new character classes, 3 new character races, complete rules for introducing Renaissance-style black powder firearms, optional rules to give fighters a little extra mechanical perk with combat talents, a D6 thief skills, an optional alternative system for thief skills, adjudicating thief skills, optional guidelines for adjudicating the use of thief skills, and attempts by other characters to perform similar tasks. So this is for OSR, basic, BECME, that stuff. And you can also get it from, you can get a softcover edition from Exalted Funeral. And yeah, so it's 100% compatible with old school essentials and BX, all that good stuff. Love the cover. This art is fun and mysterious, and you can see someone's getting backstabbed or something in the background there. Very cool look to it. But let's look inside. So as always, Necrotic Gnome and Exalted Funeral, they have beautiful interiors. So this looks great. We're going to just scroll through quickly so you can kind of see everything, and then we'll pick something to read. But you've got some monsters here. So Gargantua, known as the big siblings of humankind. Gargantuas are demi-humans who stand about 7.5 foot tall and weigh 550 pounds. Gargantuas typically live among or near humans, though some prefer to establish their own communities in the wilderness. They are known as powerful warriors with a strong resistance to every kind of hardship. Gargantuas also have a reputation for being slow-witted and literal-minded that is not entirely deserved. Though it is true that they lack subtlety when compared to other smaller kin, they can be steadfast allies or unyielding foes. So, and then you've got all the statistics and things that you need for that race or class, demi-human class, it looks like. And you've got the Acolyte here. Acolytes are adventurers who have sworn to serve a deity. They are trained for battle and can channel the power of their deity. So, very cool. So, yeah, nice 2 new classes here with Acolyte and Gargantua. And then, you know, you can also play as a Goblin, demi-human class, Hephaestion, Kineticist, Mage. So, yeah, and that's just a few of the 32 pages that we're looking at, guys, with this gorgeous art, nice presentation, easy to read, and great for a first issue especially. You know, a lot of times first issues aren't great, but this one seems like it's got tons of stuff, and it's from, you know, well-known publisher Necrotic Gnome, well-known brand of old school essentials. So if you're into OSR at all, I think you really have to check this out. Even if you're not, if you're looking for something that you might want to convert from OSR to 5th edition or something, this could be a good option. And if it's a silver seller already, that means over 100 people have already purchased it and are you know, getting it in its first week. So there's got to be something here. So check it out under Carcass Crawler in the links below and give it a try. Next we have The Cat and the Resurrection, compatible with Dungeon Crawl Classics by Mark Tasaka. And it's completely free. Not even a pay what you want. It's just completely free from Tasaka Games. It's for OSR and Dungeon Crawl Classics, as we talked about. It's a third-party compatible adventure for level 2 party of 6 to 10 characters. It builds on the events of Beneath the Giant's Head and Fantastic Adventures and The Disgruntled Gong Farmer, which are probably related titles. In fact, if you're watching Tasaka Games and those are titles you did, I would encourage you to put some links in here, use some HTML code, put some links in here to those previous books. That'll help drive sales for those and show people what you're talking about here as well. So 60 pages for this adventure, which is quite a lot for free. So let's take a look. There's really no reason not to get this if it's 100% free. So yeah, you've got your key locations, villagers, events, various setting information, and then you know, it continues on with all the various places that you'll go. Here's your little the villages, so nice. All kinds of fun stuff for the villages here. Got a halfling tavern, all kinds of characters. So they got nice distribution of art in here, and you're getting all this art and maps for free, guys. I mean, can't complain. So the basement, it says, a musty scent fills the air. Empty shelves with once stored food lines the walls. The bottom shelves show water damage from a past flood. Old rodent droppings and dead insects are scattered on the floor. So some mood there for that cellar. What else we got? We're going to see like almost the whole book, which again, if it's free, no reason not to see almost the whole book here. So you're going to see 50 pages of the 60. So yeah, I just don't know why you wouldn't grab this, even if you don't play OSR, because you might be able to be inspired by something in here, even just reuse some of the names of places, etc. But, you know, leave them a good review if you like it, as a courtesy for giving you something completely free. If it was free and I didn't like it, I wouldn't leave a bad review, because, I mean, they gave it to you for free, right? Or I would maybe leave them a couple things that are easy to implement to fix, if there's something I didn't like. But I don't see anything not to like so far in here. You've got tons of NPCs. I mean, you can even just use these NPCs in your old school settings. You got Honey the Halfling, Reverend Lavanya, some cool stuff. Rex the dog, even. It's nice. It says Rex is a source of mystery and conversation among the villagers. For as long as anyone can remember, Rex has always been Farmer Grub's faithful dog. In fact, many villagers claim that Rex was Farmer Grub's father's dog. Rex has the uncanny ability to appear when people least expect him to appear. This has led to many of the villagers scratching their heads, wondering how Rex could be at one place one moment and at another the next. And then it explains the why, and I'm not going to spoil it. But isn't that cool? This dog that's like, how has it lived for so long, and how is it in two places at once? I mean, that's a fun little thing. That alone is worth downloading this, right? So check it out, The Cat and the Resurrection by Mark Tasaka on DriveThruRPG. Click the cat, it's under cat in the links below, and give it a click. Creature Feature Quarterly, Volume 7, also for Old School Essentials. 65 pages, $6 by Jeremy Hart. It says, not just stat blocks, 16 new monsters for your Old School Essentials games. Extensive fluff, including descriptions, lore, ecology, adventure seeds, and some ideas for memorable loot. Paper mini designs for every monster. VTT tokens. And it's formatted for easy printing. So yeah, you get your VTT tokens going on. You get your new creatures, and they have a publisher preview, so it opens in a separate window, but you get to see all kinds of stuff in it. 12 pages here, and just scrolling through, you can see some of the cool art they have for their monsters. So this is for the monster called the Eldritch Ghoul, and it says, large, lanky, nightmarish, and apparently skinless abomination. It looks humanoid, but its limbs are elongated out of proportions to its trunk, as if it could run equally well on all fours. The thing's eyes are milky white orbs and a raw face of twitching muscles. It wears a perpetual carnivorous rictus grin, punctuated by a prehensile muscular glossus that reaches past its chest. Merely saying that this thing is hideous is to look upon is an understatement. So yeah, creepy looking Eldritch Ghoul. And it says that they trace their lineage to a debased royal house in the ancient past. They are horrific to look upon, but under the light of a full moon, they can disguise themselves as young and beautiful nobles. Nice. So yeah, you're getting all that extra detail on the monsters, as well as the OSR stats. So yeah, it's definitely more than you usually get. Sometimes you get just the stat block or the basics, and this is giving you lore, ecology, tactics especially are helpful, and then they've got some hooks and ideas on loot. I mean, kind of very well-rounded presentation of creatures for $6 here, for 65 pages worth of those, for basic, BECMI, OSR, Labyrinth Lord, you name it, it works with it in the OSR space. So check it out under Creature Feature down below in those links. Next, we have the Dragon's Hoard, issue number 9 from Legendary Games. You can get it as a PDF for $6.99, or a soft cover for $12.99, or combined for $13.99. It's got a lot of authors, including Jason Nelson, Michael Mifsud, Matt Kimmel, and others. It's 5th edition. It says it's a monthly anthology of magic items, spells, monsters, and more for your 5th edition campaign. So they've got the treasure trove featuring magnificent magic items like the Wand of Wall Building, Singularity Grenade, Fractured Phylactery, and others. Basker's books featuring new spells for almost every 5th edition spellcaster, like Withering Touch, Spike Crevasse, and then Class Acts featuring a new class options for your 5th edition heroes like Elemental Savant, School of Alchemy, Oath of Exorcism. And then you've got Marvelous Monsters featuring killer creatures across every challenge level, like the Undead 𝙭and Carnivorous Boulder Okpi. So lots of different things, assorted things packed into this. Let's take a look inside. You get to see 5 of the 28 pages. So you got your class stuff, your monsters, and the items right up front at the beginning. So all kinds of fun artwork here accompanying those. So you get to see in these 5 pages a lot of the items. So here's the Bomb Sniper Goggles. Requires attunement. These goggles identify weak points on creatures that alchemical items that deal hit damage can take advantage of, letting you add your dexterity modifier to damage with such items. So it can enhance your ability to use stuff like that. And let's see what else. This is a dimensional bomb. So centuries ago, when the goddess of valor and honor transcended her mortal existence to join the divine pantheon, her ascendance was met with distinct reactions of her new peers. Though many welcomed her with open arms, there were those who challenged her place among them. Furthermore, some of the villainous gods, who already nurtured animosity for her noble deeds as a mortal, instantly became outright enemies. To make allies and learn how to navigate this new existence, the goddess reached out to potential friends. Such humility was well appreciated, and most benevolent gods offered the goddess not only thoughtful advice, but also tokens of friendship, or so the story goes. What is certain beyond a doubt is that the dimensional bomb was one such token commissioned by the god of dwarves and artificers to his clergy and followers. So you get kind of a lot of lore on this item, and then you get the effects. So putting a lot of energy into this, which is good. Sometimes you get just a bare bones description of an item, so it's nice to have that extra lore, especially since it's an artifact. So yeah, look at this gorgeous art for these artifacts, and that's just the items, right? There's a ton of spells, class options in here, monster stuff. So check it out. You can even get a print version under Dragon's Hoard in the links below. Next we have 𝙤𝙤𝙦𝙯 number 31, Aberrant Echoes. It's a mini adventure designed for 4 PCs of 5th to 8th level for 5th edition. It says the earth is littered with forgotten ruins of civilizations long gone. Many hide treasures, but one of them contains something else, something of a different world, or perhaps another reality. Long ago, the Aberrant, a highly intelligent race from the Mad Realm, built a laboratory filled with twisted experiments. This was not only a place of twisted pursuits, but a complex imbued with a conscious psionic brain. The lab has laid dormant for centuries until only recently, when a trespasser activated the inquisitive monster, awakened with an undeniable need to fulfill its last task once more by every means necessary. So it's a mini adventure, and it's got cartography and illustrations, and Ian Publishing produces a lot of good stuff. This one is $2.69 for 6 pages. So let's take a look inside. It says here the dwarves dug too deep and stumbled upon an ancient laboratory. So that's the setup here. And then 3 days ago, a group of dwarves found the ancient laboratory and woke the slumbering psionic brain. So yeah, I'm gonna have to deal with that. So yeah, it sounds like you could drop this in anywhere that you think that you could have this laboratory and a psionic brain. I mean, I can think of some Ravenloft domains where this might work. You could use it obviously with like maybe a post-apocalyptic setting. Lots of fun options, and you've got the whole dwarven mine here. So it sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, rich gemstone veins, a company of mountain dwarves in the cavernous region steep below the earth. So, and it's dealing with the earth, but you could probably set this anywhere. Really fun idea, and Ian Publishing and the 𝙤𝙤𝙦𝙯 series is pretty good. So definitely worth considering under 𝙤𝙤𝙦𝙯 $3.19 in the links below. Next we have Esper Genesis. It's Master Technician's Guide for this setting, and it's Alligator Alley Entertainment is the publisher's already a best copper seller in its first week, so it sold 50 copies already, 240 pages at $24.95, 5th edition compatible, got a 5-star rating already. It's the 3rd rulebook for Esper Genesis. It's a sci-fi rules system for 5th edition. It gives game masters the tools to create fun, exciting, heroic adventures set in their own sci-fi galactic setting. You can tailor game mechanics, new options, and get some new options, customizations for gear and starships, tools for creating galactic locations and heroic encounters, guidance on adapting to alternate sci-fi genres, and much more. So combined with the core manual and the threats database, this gives you everything you need to craft these immersive, expansible sci-fi stories. So think of it this way: you've got the core manual, which is like the player's handbook, the threats database, which is like the monster manual, and then this would be your dungeon master's guide. So Alligator Alley Entertainment has done a good job of kind of creating that same feel of, you got the 3 books and you get everything you need, right, to create your setting, but it's for sci-fi instead of the fantasy, which is really nice. So tons of stuff: enhanced gear, cybernetics, rules for creating sci-fi threats, and you can see just in these screenshots, stunning artwork. Very suitable for a sci-fi setting. You see some ships here. All kinds of fun awaits you. And then down here you can see they've got the threats database and adventure and the core manual, to kick off the game. And then there's bundles that have pretty much all of this stuff. So if you're clicking the link to come here, consider the bundle, consider these other ones. All of them are, higher than free or $1 price range, so any purchase you make on these is definitely going to help the channel, that's for sure. But I think it's worth it, because look at what you're getting, this stunning art and lots of good stuff. Let's look inside. So they don't have the full preview, but you can see the quick preview. But clean, easy to read layout, tons of supporting art to give you that feel like you're really in a sci-fi location. Sometimes people do a new genre or something and they just don't include enough art, and it's like, unless you want to Google it, you really don't get what you need to feel like you're in that setting. And so if you really want something to inspire you visually, I'm very inspired by art, then this is going to be a great option for you, because not all the sci-fi attempts or other genre attempts have that rich amount of art. So I would definitely recommend checking out Esper Genesis, getting in there and seeing what you can do with this. I think you could have a lot of fun. You have obviously spaceships and cybernetics going on, all kinds of gear, character options, sci-fi threats. I would play as a player in this for sure. So check it out under Esper Genesis in the links below and give it a try. Next we have 𝙬𝙤𝙬𝙬𝙧𝙬𝙀 Companion, Volume 13 by 𝘼𝙤𝙬𝙬𝙧 from the Silurian Vault, which means it's part of the Scarred Lands IP. So you've got 10 new subclasses and characters for the continent of 𝙬𝙤𝙬𝙬 and Scarred Lands. And this is 5th edition compatible. You've got the College of the Psalm, Way of the 10 Animals, Oath of Reunification, School of Candles, and more. And then you can get a bundle that has past 𝙬𝙤𝙬𝙬𝙬 companions. So let's take a look inside. Got your intro, kind of explaining what's going to be in there, and then here's some lore on your Path of the Tempest, as well as all of the abilities. So you're getting to see a few of the subclasses without paying for it. So you're going to see 6 pages out of the 18, so you can get a good feel for how these things are. But Onyx Path did some art for this. Looks like you got some good stuff, good artists involved with Elaine working on this. So you're going to enjoy what you see in here as well as what you read. So we'll just read a little bit about the mountain domain. Immutable, impenetrable, unshakable, such are the mountains in the Scarred Lands. The Kelders and the other mountains of 𝙬𝙤𝙬𝙬 are the ultimate testament of the victory of the gods against the Titan 𝘏𝑑uum, the breaker of mountains during the Divine War, and of the strength of the dwarven people of the Burok Torn. Mountains have power, and it is no coincidence that the gods were born in the highest peak of the Scarred Lands, the legendary Mount Namul, on the far-off Asherak. In 𝙬𝙤𝙬𝙬, the dwarven demigod Goran grants the mountain domain to his followers. It is likely that the dead god Orcanthus offered this domain as well before the Divine War, but his name has been forgotten by mortals since his brutal murder at the very beginning of the war. So, nice background to the mountain domain. Then you have your spells, and then let's look at a Mountain Stride. When you reach 6th level, you know how to navigate even the sharpest peak. Moving through non-magical difficult terrain caused by slopes or similar obstacles costs you no extra movement, and you ignore non-magical difficult terrain when traveling in mountain areas. In addition, you have advantage on all ability checks and saving throws you make to resist being pulled, pushed, knocked prone, or petrified. So some thematic stuff plus some kind of advantage on things that you might use outside of mountains. So kind of a cool idea. And that's just one of them. There's a lot in here, so check it out under 𝙬𝙤𝙬𝙬𝙬 Companion in the links below. Next, we have Merchants of the Multiverse from Dragon Peak Publishing, 43 pages for $7 on the PDF, or you can get a black and white book at $10, or you can do a combination at $11. The authors are Stephen Sherratt and Bosan Ao, and it says it's a 43-page black and white zine for Mutant Call Classics and other OSR-style systems. Can be used to make your post-apocalyptic or interstellar game feel more alive and active. Contains the following: 50 new artifacts, rules for trading artifacts, 7 colorful merchants, fully illustrated monsters, strange communities, adventure seeds, a new Mutant Crawl Classics adventure, lots of art from Bosan Ao, tables and trading and travel, and tips for Mutant Crawl Classic defying those DCC adventures. So it helps you like tweak those other adventures to be more mutant crawl-like. And there's a VTT token pack with 27 tokens, so that's also very helpful. Let's take a look inside at 5 of the 43 pages. So nice black and white art, and let's read about 𝙭𝙪, curator of the Ultima Museum. He warps throughout time and space, though claims to be a curator for the greatest museum of the 69th century, collecting historical pieces and trading duplicates of items already in the museum archives. However, he is but a simple gong farmer from the far-flung past. By mere chance, he met a time traveler and promptly drowned the poor sucker in night soil before stealing his time travel belt. He has no care for the structural integrity of time-space and is always just a step ahead of the temporal police. His profits are quickly spent on hookers and time-period-appropriate drugs. Wasn't he a peach? He's just up to some shenanigans, isn't he? But he's got this little wheelbarrow full of stuff, so he could be a fun encounter if you're doing, kind of a sci-fi setting. We just looked at a whole sci-fi 5th edition, rule system, so you could even incorporate this. I know this is OSR, but you can take some characters from this and put it into 5th edition, probably pretty easily. So yeah, fun stuff. I'm loving the art that they have for the characters, and these are just some of the merchants that you're going to encounter, so you're not seeing everything. And it's a multiverse of stuff with tokens and all kinds of stuff. And that was we looked at just a few of the 7 colorful merchants, and then you've got a bunch of other stuff. So if you're into mutant crawl classics, post-apocalyptic, sci-fi, any of that stuff, some good options for you, and you even have print options. So check it out under Merchants of the Multiverse in the links below. Next, we have Micro Dungeons from Indie Hobbies, or Zakur, $2, and it says it's compatible with OSR and 5th edition. So it says it's a short selection of small dungeons for both new and experienced players of 5th edition that can be played in a few hours with an old school feel. So here's some of the setup. It looks like it's like 1 page for each adventure, so you have the map in the middle with all the numbered locations detailed, so quick and easy if you need a one-shot. Micro dungeon. It says sometimes you need a quick one-shot, or maybe you need a way to show a new player how to play. Sometimes you also need a dungeon to insert into a bigger adventure that you're already running. Micro dungeons can help you with that. There's a map, an introduction to the adventure, and encounters, traps, or puzzles for the different rooms. Also, every dungeon includes at least 1 new monster. At the end of the document, there's an appendix with all the stat blocks for the new monsters. So there's 5 different dungeons, and for $2, getting some interesting dungeons. I like the art. Not sure if the artist is Sakura as well, but very cool looking artwork and feel, and just giving you some quick dungeons. And it looks like they're not too small, because you've got at least 5 or 6 rooms each here. So and new monsters. So I think that's pretty good for $2. So check it out under Micro Dungeons in the links below. Next, we have Mission Excalibur from Nerd Glows On. It's a 40-page book at $3.99. It says a commando raid on a Nazi-occupied castle to retrieve Excalibur. In an alternate Europe gone hellishly wrong, Nazis occupy England and have found the legendary blade. The PCs fighting for the resistance must infiltrate the village and castle of Southampton-upon-Stowell and steal back England's greatest treasure. Originally written for the Hateful Place under the title No Place Like Home, this version of the adventure has been updated and retooled for OSR, traditional fantasy rules, and is broadly adaptable for any World War II type of setting. So seems like you can play it with OSR or adapt it for other kind of similar. Oops, I guess my link did not work here. I tried to preset this one up, but we'll try again here. We'll open the full size. I got the main page instead. So you've got the Darkened Isle. Yeah, nice background here, easy to read pages. Look at that cool map. So yeah, you got a nice military style map, and then you've got all these locations detailed to go with that map, and then you've got some rumors, so we'll read some of these rumors here. So the good witch lives in the ruins of the church south of the village. The Nazis will pay 10,000 CUR for her, preferably alive, but even the vilest informants of the village are reluctant to turn her in. Then jumping down here, Cleveland Pudding, the former star of early horror films, is still alive and lives in the village, an accomplished thespian. He might be prevailed upon to help in some way with the plan of infiltration. Dr. Marples, the village physician, advocates cannibalism as a healthy alternative to pre-war diets. A chop's a chop, he says. So yeah, you get some weird rumors to go with your weird war stuff. Highway to Hell, Arms and the Man. It says the mission: infiltrate the town of Southampton upon Sol individually and make contact with the resistance, who will equip you, gain access to Castle Stall, retrieve Excalibur, and escape. So that could be fun, getting the legendary sword out of there, helping people. So yeah, pretty fun, different little adventure, and it works with OSR, and I love the sort of comic book style cover of crazy battle going on. So yeah, check it out if you're in the market for something different. Mission Excalibur in the links below. Next we have Silver Oak Fantasy RPG Master Handbook by Matt Belcher. It's $363 for 294 pages, so that's pretty cheap for a lot of pages. It says it's compatible with D20, 3rd edition, and OSR. Grab your sword, check your spells, and ready yourself for the untold stories and adventures that await. Just like those that have gone before you, this game manual will lead you on many adventures from the darkest caverns to the deepest forests. Silver Oak Fantasy RPG is a tabletop pen and paper role-playing game. It's been adapted from the D20 version of Dungeons & Dragons, with changes suited to groups wanting more options for characters, faster combat, and a system that suits all player types, from the power gamer to the storyteller. So, and then it just goes into some of the differences. So this started as D20 and then kind of mutated into something new. So among the differences, race. Your race now includes more than just your birth race. It also includes your background and personal traits. Profession, your profession or class gives you a more varied set of options to choose from as you grow in level. Stats, your character's stats are rolled on a similar to normal other D20 type games, and increase as you gain levels. You will also choose a prime and a frail stat that will affect how you play and grow. Combat, the number of attacks a character may have at any level is normally only 1, but the amount of physical damage you are able to deal increases as you advance in levels. Spells are no longer arranged by type of caster, they are arranged by stat. This changes how you cast them and the spells you have access to. So, some interesting twists on the typical D20. Let's take a look. You get to see 47 of the 294 pages, so that's a significant chunk of pages. And it's showing you like the basics, the race and background, professions or classes, skills, money, combat rules, spells, magic items, and fiends and foes, as well as an appendix. So I definitely think with this big of a preview, it's worth checking out if you're in the market for something a little different for your D20 or 3rd edition or even old school. Lots of stuff in here. They're going into alignment, and it's nice to have names for each of the alignments. I like that. Prime and frail statistics. All kinds of interesting variations on things that you might have seen out there. And a lot of pages. I mean, almost 300 pages for the price. That's really nice. So let's take a look here at some of these. So slippery, you are less adept at grappling and wrestling than others, but you are slippery. You gain a +1 bonus on checks to escape a grapple or avoid being grappled. Drawback, you take a -1 penalty to attempt to grapple another person. Characters with this trait might fear close combat, knowing they are less adept grapplers than most opponents. I said another person there, but it really means another creature, anybody, not just people. So yeah, that's fun. Stout, you are heavy for your race. You gain +2 bonus on checks to avoid being bull rushed or overrun. For your drawback, you take a -1 penalty on escape artist checks. Role-playing ideas. Overweight characters are often bullied, so those with this trait might be shy, or they might be very defensive when faced with such situations. So they're just trying some different stuff here, and it looks like a lot of material. There's definitely art, but you're getting a significant amount of content, and it's all for $363. So I can't imagine that you would spend $363 and get 300 pages and not find something you could use in there. So I think it's probably a good option to consider. My recommendation would be read through the full-size preview. You can zoom in, read more of it, and then if you like anything in there, consider it, because it's a lot of pages for the money. It's under Silver Oak Fantasy RPG in the links below. Next, we have Slime Cave of Norwal by James Introcaso. Sorry, I know that name, and I'm horrible at pronouncing today. So it's for 𝙤𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙚 Grim and Perilous RPG. And in addition to James Introcaso, you got Sean Van Dam and Jeff Stevens, and $2.95 for 12 pages, and it's for OSR. And James is well known in the industry as a writer and published lots of stuff, and definitely excited to see something from James this week in the mix. And I think James is known for good stuff, so I think you guys would definitely be interested in checking out this product. So it's a 1 to 2 hour adventure for around 5 characters. There's scaling suggestions for weaker or stronger parties, and you've got high quality maps, full color. Look at this cool slime guy. It says, oozing with intrigue, the farm village Norwal attracts a few tourists annually with the ruins of Orthive's Tower and the famous Slime Cave. The ruins are just the foundation of the semi-famous Conjurer's Tower that blew up in the mysterious accident. The river that cuts through Slime Cave flows with glowing sludge that gives the caverns an eerie glow. So that's very atmospheric, cool feeling. You can see already from this art that a lot of fun, glowy danger awaits you, and I think that's a cool setup, and I love this logo they've got here as well. But yeah, and even the cover, you can see kind of this glowy cave, so it's very well sets the mood with this art. Let's take a look inside. You get to see 8 of the 12 pages, so that's a good amount, and yeah, I think it's really cool. So, and it was originally written for a 5th edition supplement titled Adventures from the Pot-Bellied Kobold, but now it's been converted to OSR. So if you're looking for the 5th edition version, you can also click this link and maybe get the 5th edition version. But it's nice that it's available for OSR. So you got background, plot hooks, and then information on the location of Norwal, and then tracking the oozes, approaching the cave, and then wow, look at that map. I love that with all the color here. Gorgeous. And then there you go. There's the slime dude. That's awesome. I like it. Could be a slime gal or some other gender as well, but I like the look of it. All right, so let's read one of the adventure hooks up here, plot hooks. It says the characters live in Norwal and witness an attack as 2 ochre jellies move through the village, consuming farmers. Whoa. If the characters do not kill the oozes, the jellies move into the wilderness. The characters visit Norwal and see the most recent acid-scarred fields and streets of the village. Norwal is less than a day of travel from wherever the characters are staying. A messenger rides into town begging for help from adventurers. The messenger was sent by Constable Royla Swiftfoot. So, 3 different ways to get the characters involved. And this cool little logo thing is nice to look at. I mean, just every page offers something in here. I think I'm enjoying looking at this, and James has good writing, so I would recommend this for sure. Look for Slime Cave of Norwal in the links below and give it a click. All right, next we have Sundara, Dawn of New Age, Species of Sundara Elves from Azukel Games, on sale right now for $3.99, normally $4.99. It's 5th edition, 30 pages. It says there are dozens, if not hundreds, of different species of creatures across the world of Sundara, and within any given species, there is a great deal of variation, both physically and culturally. In Species of Sundara, the goal is to take a look at each of the different species players have access to and to provide examples of this variation. And we start with the elves. So they've got all kinds of variations on elves in here, presumably. And you get to see 5 of the 30 pages. So kind of a cool looking art already and setup. And, most settings are focused on after the golden age of magic or whatever, but Sundara is like, this is the golden age. We are in it now. So that's always fun with Sundara. But you can see all these different things going on. The Garderi, rarely seen unless they wish to be seen. The Garderi have adapted to life in the deepest of the old growth forests across Sundara. Patient and prone to making particularly long-term plans, they are often regarded as mysterious sages by those who live near them. In truth, the Garderi, a word that roughly translates to gardener, have engineered this reputation the same way they do other aspects of their lives and communities. For as the old Garderi proverb goes, nothing worth doing can be accomplished quickly or easily. Though the forests that the Garderi call home are some of the oldest in Sundara, it is said that by some scholars that it was these elves who planted the first seeds in the long-forgotten times. It's why there are hidden paths through the woods carefully cultivated by these elves who want to be certain they can move unseen when they wish to, which is often. It is also why these forests seem filled with abundance, these paths and rows lined with fruit-bearing trees and berry bushes. So, very cool. Love this. Yeah, lots of elf fun. I mean, who doesn't need an elf variant? I mean, they're kind of one of the staple races, right, of these games. And so here's some variants on sale, $3.99. You get 30 pages of elf goodness. So check it out under the links in Species of Sundara. Next we have Spell and Blade, 100 first level NPC cards, OSR retainers for all character levels from Mesozoic Press, and it's $7.50 for the PDF, or you can get the cards in a tuck box printed for you for $20, or both for $20. So if you're going to get the cards in the tuck box, you might as well get both so that you can print your own copies as well. The author is Abe Smith. It's 107 cards. And says PCs need some help, need to know who is at the end. Spell and Blade OSR Retainers has 100 printable first level characters, each with full stats, a brief appearance, personality, and a quirk for you to add to your OSR games. Or you can fill out the ranks of your player's party. These NPCs have stats slightly higher than those usually found in OSR games. This is intentional in order to make the retainers useful to the PCs as well as reflect the character's backstory and quirks. Certain modifications were made, but you can alter it if needed. So there's 15 clerics, 10 dwarves, elves, fighters, halflings, magic users, and thieves. This is a good selection. I don't think we get to see any of the cards. I would recommend to the authors to include maybe at least one, so we can just kind of get a look at how the card's going to look, in terms of one of the characters, get a feel for it. But, I mean, looking at this art, it looks really nice. And it's OSR. It's got 100 different ones. I mean, I can't imagine it's not awesome. And it's cool that you can print them. So maybe if you guys can add even just one as an image down here, maybe front and back of one card, that would be awesome. I would love to see that. But I'm excited by this product because that's 100 characters that you can just pull them out as a card. It's ready to go. You can keep it right next to you, a little card deck. Grab one, pull it out. Instantly ready to go. Tells you the backstory, quirk, that you can give the personality, a try. You could even just go through the deck and pick out like a handful that you're going to just have at the ready next to you. Maybe ones that you feel most comfortable portraying as a dungeon master. Not all quirks are going to be ones that you feel confident that you can portray. So if you pre-look through these cards, you can maybe identify a top 10 or top 5 or whatever that you just kind of have at the ready. And then because they're cards, if you have like a physical way of tracking your campaign and keeping your notes together, you could just put that card with your notes and then keep it with that campaign. Maybe you're running multiple campaigns for different groups. Kind of easy way to do it. And since if you buy the physical and the PDF, you could also make a screen cap or something, or print out that page as well to kind of keep it together with your notes. However you're storing your notes, you would have a way if you have both the PDF and the cards. So I like that a lot. All right, next we have the Stelliati isometric map pack for free. It's number 1, and you can see some of the beautiful art in the cover here, and it's totally free at the suggested price of 0 for pay what you want. I would recommend throwing in a little bit of funds there because it is quite a lot of beautiful art we're going to look at here. 𝘽𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙀. So 5 different ready-to-play colored maps, and then they have other releases as well. But this is, look at how gorgeous this is. So they got this kind of crypt here, and then there's these open grave sites back in here with a throne. It might be like where vampires live, I don't know. And then you got a forest fire, a raging fire here. There's a pool, and you got some steps up. And then you can see the grids are in here too. So you can definitely say, okay, you're here, whatever, right? And then this is a cool little planner looking map with this gate into someplace, fantastical, celestial maybe. And then you got these floating islands, which are nice. Yeah, and some sort of royal place, and then even this giant mechanical thing with a ladder up to the head, and I mean, these are just fun, different, imaginative settings, and you can come up with your own story for these, and it's free. I mean, how can you beat it? I definitely need to come back and get this later. So, 𝘽𝙬𝙬𝙧𝙀, I think you've done a great job. Beautiful art. I really enjoy it. I hope I get to work with you someday on one of my books with your art, because it's stunning, and I think a lot on offer here. And also check out their Patreon, because it seems like they're producing a lot of these, and maybe some more options there. But why not grab this? Because I mean, these look like some really fun settings, and it's free. So check it out on DriveThruRPG under 𝘽𝙬𝙬𝙧𝙀 down below in the links. Next we have Template Races Tieflings for Pathfinder from Rusted Iron Games and Russ Brown. It's $2.99 for 12 pages. It says, Tieflings have become a staple of our fantasy role-playing games. The concept of a mortal character with a fiendish ancestry is one that is popular with a lot of players. A lot of work has been put into providing a variety of fiendish heritages for Tieflings. However, the Tiefling's mortal ancestry is almost always restricted to being human, or just hand-waved away as, sure, you can have an elf Tiefling, but it is the fiendish part that's important. Have you ever wanted to play an elf Tiefling that is actually elfy? That is where the Tiefling race template comes in. It is a quick and relatively simple way to produce game rules for Tiefling races that incorporate elements from the mortal race as well as their fiendish heritage. Here we present the Tiefling race template and over a dozen examples of Tiefling races. Use this race template to combine Tiefling racial traits and the racial traits of the desired mortal race in a similar manner to applying a monster template to a monster stat block. So I think that's a really good concept, and it's true, Tieflings are often just seen as wholly fiendish, even though they're supposed to be partially. So yeah, I like the layout. It looks like they have a lot of good stuff in here. You get to see 5 of the 12 pages. So here are the 11 Tiefling heritages. The Evil Spawn heritage represents the original Pathfinder version, and the other are specific to a type of fiendish ancestry. So you've got the Evil Spawn, and then you've got Beast Brood, which is Rakshasa, and then you've got Fault Spawn for Ashura, Foul Spawn for Demodan, and etc. You're gonna all kinds of specific connections. And then here's the template, getting into the template, and then more detail, just to give you background on your Tiefling. I love it. Tieflings are so fun, right? Who doesn't want to flesh it out a little more? And for $2.99 you get 12 pages to really delve into what is it about the elf side of my Tiefling or that I should represent here, because maybe I'm not. I'm just focused on my fiendish side. So look for template races in the links below. Next we have the Tiny Tome of Dragons by Zakor, $2, and it's 22 pages. It says it's a supplement for the 5th edition. It contains 6 new types of dragons divided into 2 families. Also, each of them is divided into the 12 age categories. So here we have a Quasar dragon with some really fun art. Unlike normal dragons, there's 12 age categories similar to those of previous editions, so they have more options for challenge readings. So there's a table with those stats instead of individual stat blocks, it says. Each new dragon includes its description, the history of where it came from, the description of its combat style, habitat, society, and ecology, in addition to the list of actions, legendary actions, lair actions, all that stuff. So I would recommend to the author maybe adding those stat blocks at the end, since you wanted to do tables instead of stat blocks, because some people will want the full stat block. I know that's going to be hard with some of the actions, but you could do like an appendix where you just copy them. The actions would repeat in a lot of ways. The damage would change, of course, but some of the actions and things would change. So at least for maybe just do the full stat blocks for the ones that are, the age categories that are in 5th edition. If you don't want to do them all, but I think that'd be cool. The table though is cool as well, because I can see where you could, looking at this, you would have your stats here, and then you would have all your actions. So I think it works. Just maybe to mix it up a little bit. But look at all these cool dragons they've got. They've got the Quasar Dragon, Meteor Dragon, Supernova Dragon, Shadow Tree Dragon, Wildfire, and Cascade Dragons as well. I think that's a lot of fun dragons for $2. And I could see people having fun with this. And again, Fizban's Dragon book is coming out in October, as well as one from me on for players related to dragons. So I think you're going to need some dragon stuff, so this might be a good option. $2 here to get some more dragon beasties for your campaign. Next we have Tome of the 𝙭𝙬𝙧𝙬 from Monkey's Paw Games. It's a suggested price of $2 on Pay What You Want for two pages. It's a trifold pamphlet dungeon and the first of the Little Coffin series. Each Little Coffin is compatible with Brighthammer, Bastards, the Vanilla Game, Pink Hack, and other OSR games. So definitely good to know if you're into OSR. Let's take a look inside. So you can see it's a pamphlet. You get to see both of the pages in the preview, so no reason not to consider this title. So searching, you find all of this stuff. And then down here is your map. Nice, cool little map with art, and then information on the spells that this bad guy has. So searching, you'll find Glass Eye, see through magical darkness if you replace your eye with this one. Banshee Flute produces a keening wail that shatters glass and ruptures eardrums. Haunch of rotting meat reeks of decay, wondrous healing properties. So lots of fun, different stuff in here. Says prison cell, a musty pallet on the cold ground. Beneath the pallet there is a woodblock pinup of a dwarf with thick thighs, a small hole dug into the spoon, and an exceedingly worn, drawn down spoon. So creepy kind of feel. This might even work for Mork Borg, I don't know, but I like it. I think it's a really fun little artwork and whole dungeon here for you. So check it out. You get to read the whole title. It's a Pay What You Want price, and it's under Tome of the 𝙭𝙬𝙧𝙬 down below. Next we have What Lies Below, the RPG Metal Opera. It's a player's guide from Ragnarok Games, and it says, are you ready for metal? For fans of heavy metal and fantasy RPGs comes What Lies Below, the RPG Metal Opera, a metalized version of the current edition, so 5th edition of D&D. This player's guide features 8 new classes: the cultist, hellion, high sorcerer, etc., along with feats, equipment, and spells inspired by classic metal songs and bands. Includes a custom alignment system and sub-skills, power points and spell points, fuel spells, and class features rather than per rest usage or spell slots. So grab your dice and fire up the tunes. It's time for the RPG Metal Opera. And then there's a little trailer down here that you can watch. And it's got a Pay What You Want price of $5 for 90 pages. So that's a lot of pages. And it seems really fun. So you're getting a whole metal theme to everything. So yeah, look at how cool laid out this is. Reminds me of like some music liner notes or maybe even a little bit of like a Rolling Stone or some other magazine, at least on some of the pages. So that's cool. And yeah, lots of fun stuff in here. It's talking about PowerPoints, saving throws, characters, level advancement. So Devil Child, let's read about these personal backgrounds. So Devil Child, am I evil? You may ask yourself the question every day. You may look like a tiefling with cool horns, crimson skin, a tail, and spooky eyes, but you don't belong to a separate race. In fact, there are few in the world like you. You were born to a human mother or father after some unholy rite with a fiend of hell. Not something you really want to think about. So are you evil because of your fiendish heritage? That's up to you to decide. So it's hard to read through this watermark. So let me just move on. But that's a cool, interesting description. Footling, halfling makes it sound like you're only half a person. That's just a name. The big oaf shoes, as though you're only a smaller version of them, like that derogatory name. All the stories about your people are wrong. You don't live in the comfy holes in the ground and stuff your fat little stomach with elevenses. Far from being lazy and content and with creature comforts, most footlings never settle down. Your people are natural wanderers, explorers, and adventurers. So it's kind of helping you tweak these traditional races to be more metal focused, which is fun. I have a lot of friends who are into heavy metal, so I'm sure they would love this. And I think it's fun. I mean, you could even pull just something out of here, one little thing out of here, like a background or a spell or a feat, and just give a tiny little metal feel to your game. You don't have to play the whole thing, although it could be fun to do. So you have a variety of options here. And, you could even maybe have a member of your table that is particularly a big fan of metal, and you could work something in for maybe a birthday session. Maybe they're going to have a birthday session for them in their honor, or, near their birthday or something. You can have just like a spell out of here or like a character out of here, and just bring that in and give them a tribute with their favorite kind of style. Maybe even play some metal music to set the scene, or you can do the whole thing as a whole setting. I mean, Morkborg is really popular, which is kind of a twisted take on stuff. So this could be another angle, is just have a whole metalized version of 5th edition and just really lean into it. Much easier to find the music, right? Because there's a lot of metal music out there, so you could really set the stage with the background music and just have fun. Tribute to some of your favorite metal bands over the years as well. So check it out under What Lies Below, and the links down in the video description. So that's it for the titles this week. Please follow me on Twitter at Splinterverse. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Like the video. Share the video. Consider buying one of my books, Potions Unlocked, which has everything you need to make potions actually interesting. It's print on demand and digital. Then there's also Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. All you need to remove a lineage, string them together, and 4 really fun, awesome lineages out there for you. And then, of course, if you click on any of the links down below, you're going to support these creators, and any purchases you make while you've clicked those links is going to help this channel as well. So thank you so much. Thanks to all the wonderful creators for putting out great work each week, and to all of you watching, I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And until next time, happy adventuring.